Hello, chat.
Hello, hello.
I was knocked over my old lady light. Go over there, old lady light.
Hello, Northern Lights. Somehow I'm not surprised to see you here first.
We are happy to see you.
Indeed.
All right. All right. We are up in all the places. It looks good. I am impressed. Can everyone hear us? How do we sound? Tell us how we sound.
Sound great
Can
to
you
me.
hear me
but
nicely?
Yeah, but you don't count.
I
Your
don't count.
ears are different than their ears, and so it's a whole thing, which is why we prattle on about whatever little nonsense here at the beginning until Zaphos says that we can stop because their sound is good.
Oh, look, it's
And it takes them a
cycling
minute.
through the book covers. That's cool. I like that.
That's cool, right? They look
Yeah.
so pretty together.
They do.
I had fun putting up, they're going to look gorgeous on the table. I had fun putting them in the ads, right, for this launch. But I'm like, they look so pretty.
I'm glad that Carl's getting some representation.
Yes. Yeah, we couldn't go the whole series without giving Carl a cover.
That's the sad part, though, because we have one book to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like 2 characters that need to be featured. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to see how we do that.
And we
Why
sound
won't the
good.
chat pop out? We all sound good? Okay, excellent. It's like we've done this before. There's the pop out chat. Nice, nice, nice. Did you hear Greg say that he really liked the way the things look? The covers.
Oh, thank you.
The cycling cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's sharp. Because at first I was like, oh no, it's the wrong cover. But then it changed. So I was like, oh.
You're like, oh.
So
it is
fancy.
not the wrong cover.
I figure we're, this far into the series, might as well put all of them up there.
When Dave graciously hosted me on his stream last night to promote the book coming out, and we were like talking about the new book, but of course I was like, but if anyone wants to read this, please start with book 1 because you will be very confused.
Confused.
This is not a drop-in series. You cannot just start anywhere.
No.
We do our best
definitely
to recap,
not.
but it is not a substitute for reading the book.
Well, this is not a series that holds your hand, which is nice, right? Like, I like nice, easy reads too, but I also like those ones that really make you think, and that's what this one is, right? So it's nice to have a variety of things to read.
I try to respect the reader.
Don't treat them like morons.
I abuse their emotions.
That you definitely do. For sure.
And if the reader doesn't respect you, you send your minions.
My new favorite thing to get from both Kelly and Sarah is where they get to a part and like I was starting to think this would never happen, or don't you dare do this, and then I go in and do the thing you wanted me to do. I was like, I got it.
All right, wait, let's stop talking right now because we need to get this stuff recorded. So why don't we get to that part?
Okay.
This is the good stuff.
Going to kick pigs?
Yeah, let's kick pigs. We're pros. We don't need to. The sound's good. We don't need to be here. We don't need to keep stretching it. We're good to go.
Cool.
Greg's done this just a few times.
Once or twice. Let us do the thing.
Hello, readers. Welcome to Book Lunch Tuesdays, the best thing to happen to Tuesday since tacos. Tonight, we have Greg D. Little and the release of The Body Heist, 4th book in the Mutagen Deception series. On the harsh world of Anaron Hondo, alien refugees and abandoned humans fight for their right to exist. But are they choosing this battle or merely the puppets of mysterious forces with dark agendas? Tune in to find out. Woohoo! Book 4 is out into the world. How does that feel, Greg?
Quite honestly, this one like snuck up on me. I was like, oh God, there's a book coming out. Just things have been crazy. So it's wild to consider that just a few years ago I was working on the rewrite of the first book, and here we are, 4 down and 1 to go.
I love it. Very excited. And that is for everyone on here. First of all, welcome. Thank you to our channel. And we also have, so as you should have heard from the intro, this is book 4. Book 1 is The Last Humans. We will try to do spoiler free, but I have no guarantees. It's kind of hard to celebrate the book without giving some spoilers away. So if you have not read the first book yet, I would highly recommend saving this video, go reading the first 3, then coming back and watching this. So, and we also tonight have with us SG George, the copy editor for this masterpiece. And SG George is going to read Greg's bio.
Gregory D. Little is the author of The Unwilling Souls, Mutagen Deception, that's this one, and the Bell Begrudgingly Solves It series. As a writer, you would think he'd find a better way to sugarcoat the following statement, but you'd be wrong. So just to say it straight, he really enjoys tricking people. As such, one of his greatest joys in life is laughing maniacally whenever he senses a reader has reached that part in one of his books. Fantasy, sci-fi, horror, it doesn't matter. They all have that part. You'll know when you get to it, promise. Or will you? He lives in Virginia with his wife, and he is uncommonly fond of spiders.
Yes, in his...
It's a good bio. Solid.
It's solid. It's a solid bio. And also, your uncommon like of spiders has bled through to the rest of CDS. I'm not sure I signed up for that.
I'm very pleased that I've corrupted the entire Discord with that. It's taken on a life far beyond me now. There's spider mascots that I had nothing to do with creating, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, there's a little tiny spider. I have no idea what it is, but it is a web building spider, and he lives right on the corner of in the bathroom. And I haven't kicked him out or anything. I just left him there, and he makes these cute little webs. And it's all your fault.
It's all right. I got 3 gals living in my kitchen window, and one of them had a boyfriend over today. I saw, and he, little tiny guy, he's gonna go, because if she gets pregnant, then we're gonna have problems. But there are a couple of gals living in my window.
I mean, he's probably gonna go in a way that isn't super pleasant for him.
Spectacular way, yes.
It tends to happen in the spider community.
Well, she can't have him eating the babies, so yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
He's as
A
big
delicious
as the
meal.
babies.
I love it. Well, I have to say, for your fondness of spiders, the fact that you take really multi-legged, grotesque creatures and make them not friendly or useful for like eating bugs or anything in your stories. So how do you align these two things?
I contain multitudes. No, I don't know. I just, ever since I was a little kid, the idea of multi-legged monsters was a great source of enjoyment for me. So I've dug through old stuff and found my drawings of these horrible things I drew, and it's apparently just a lifelong affliction. And now I've found a creative outlet for it. You should be thankful that I don't have access to any genetic engineering equipment. We can let people resurrect dire wolves. Don't give me access to that power. You don't know what you'll get.
We have no idea how many
I know
legs
exactly
those
what
dire
I'm going to
wolves are
get. It's probably going to have 6, because all of them have 6, except the ones that are not with 6, but they have nothing that in common between them.
Well, I love it. Again, try not to do spoilers. There are, as your series has progressed, because there is genetic engineering and they are going to different planets and stuff, that there are different, and there's different aliens. There's all kinds of things going on. There are definitely different kinds of monsters as well. So when my job as developmental editor is make sure the story really works and we have all the powerful emotional parts and all of that. And then it goes to poor Sarah, and Sarah makes sure the monsters make sense.
Yeah.
That I'm following the weird, twisted internal logic of the monsters I've created.
Well, yeah, and it was really confusing at first because one of the monsters, and I think that it's fine to talk about this one because it's the one that's in the first movie, or the book, whatever. The
Movie
Revenants,
someday. Keep saying it. Put it out there. Manifest.
Yes,
the
manifest it.
Revenants
These
are
would actually make
black,
really creepy good movies, quite frankly.
but they've got you described them as having an oily sheen, and then I noticed that you said like, oh, this one's got an orange sheen, and this one's got a yellow sheen, and this one's green, and I'm like, that doesn't track between them, and then you started to realize that each one has an individual color, and I was like, ah, I get it.
Yeah, they're colorful, but in a creepy way.
Yeah, not in a rainbow friendly way, let me tell you.
No.
That was a detail I added in because I thought that just having them be black was a little too like,
Yeah.
obvious, right? Like they're these black insect monsters. Like that's okay. That's sort of the default color for bad things. So I was like, let's give them a little bit of weird iridescent color detail as something to just differentiate them a little bit from something more generic sounding. So that was a conscious effort on my part to just give them a little weird distinguishing character. And I never really explained why it's that way. I just they each have their signature color, and that's just how it is.
It's just like Daleks. It's all good.
That's right. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
I was thinking Ford F-150s, but because my dad's truck looks blue until it goes, or it looks black until it goes through the sunlight, and then you can see that it's blue. And so that's what I
Are your
know.
Ford
you go.
F-150s trying to destroy mankind?
They have great towing capacity.
Revenants also have great towing capacity.
Yes, see? There are so many
And
similarities.
consumption.
Yeah.
Consumption capabilities as well.
They get fantastic mileage.
Move us at high rates of speed. Very hardy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So you definitely have like this horror science fiction thing down, and surprises at the end. So it's not just about the horror. The as in it's a lot about the horror, but it's not that simple. How about that?
Right.
The On your cards that you have a reviewer who says, holy shit, Greg, for the end of book 1.
Yes.
I love to show people when I'm selling your book, show them that. And they're like, nah. I'm like, yeah, it's so good. But you still somehow manage. You did it in book 1. You did it in book 2. Quite frankly, book 3 isn't as big of a surprise because we were catching up, right? Sometimes you
Right.
got to breathe
Yeah.
in these long series, right? So 3, there are still surprises, don't get me wrong. But you've got to catch up, right? So there's a little catch up. 4, right back to it, man. Big old surprise at the end. So I'm wondering, as a writer, do you ever wonder if you're going to be able to do it next time?
I try not to get into that trap because then I'll like get the yips, Or
Wait, do writers get yips too? That's funny.
No, it's always like I think the bigger worry is like worrying about repeating myself, or if I because I think every writer has those ideas they like to revisit if they're not careful, and they'll kind of drift back into them almost unconsciously. And so you have to be sort of vigilant that you're not, okay, if you're going to do something that echoes something earlier, make it into like a thematic echo, not a just straight one for one, repeat of what you've done already. And so, I mean, I guess, yeah, I worry about it, but so far it's working.
It is indeed. And
I'll have to do it one more time in this series.
You got the Bell stuff.
Yes.
In the new series, yes.
That's a bit different, but yeah, same. Then I just have to create a murder mystery that fools people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
I've got some wild twists in that one planned, though. Some really wild twists. So.
Yes. I have done the first step edits on the second book, and they're very exciting. But talk about different. They're like this. They're located in the same universe, but they have very different tones, extremely different tones between those two series. But they definitely both have surprises, which are very nice. Also, a very female strong cast. And I'm wondering, why do you choose to tell your stories in that way? Why do you really like the strong female point of view?
I've thought about this a lot because obviously, it's a thing that could it's a choice that could you know, get you in trouble if you're making it for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think it's just, I think of the character, and I think of the character if they were a man and the character if they were a woman. And a lot of times it seems more interesting if they're a woman. And it's probably as much as anything because we just haven't seen as many. I mean, much more so in recent years, but
Mhm.
the long history of books, you just have more male protagonists. So it feels like a thing that's been done more in most cases. So,
Mhm.
you know, it's probably just as simple as that. Like, I just, it seems less like a retread if I'm taking like, we're shifting series again, but Belle as a character is
Mhm.
extremely abrasive.
Mhm.
She's foul mouthed. I feel like if you made her a guy, she would be intolerable.
Mhm.
Like, because she would seem so stereotypically like brash, hot-headed guy.
Right.
And having her be a woman makes it's like it and this is probably making me sound sexist. Like, I feel like having her
Mhm.
be a woman, it
Mhm.
just makes that abrasiveness less offensive.
Mhm.
The uh the other thing, like in my fantasy series, I have, main character Cess, and she's able to basically mind control people, which is a pretty disturbing power for your protagonist to have.
Uh-huh.
No one ever has brought that up to me as like, and I play with it in the thing. I have her realize that it's a disturbing thing, and she basically tries not to do it. Um, no one ever brings that up and says, "Well, it's really disturbing she can do this." But if she was a male character, it would
Oh
feel a
yeah.
lot weirder. So
Mhm.
maybe I'm just sort of playing society's expectations for female versus male characters against them a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, but I always, as I talk about again when I sell your books, but you also do it well. You really do the feel
That's
like it
that's the hope.
works. There, because so
Yeah,
many men can't, right? So they try, but
yeah.
they can't. But yours really works. It's just there are a few others like Riley Sager does really good female characters. So does Grady Hendrix, right? Really good female characters. And coincidentally, these are horror thriller writers as well.
Mm-mm.
So I wonder if that is just the thing. There's something about the way that the stories are forming that it works better with the female, and you happen to be able to do it authentically.
I guess,
So.
yeah, I guess I try to make them interesting,
Mhm.
and I try not to have the fact that they're a woman be the point, like, of the
Yes,
character.
I think that's why it
Yeah.
works, right? It's
Yeah,
never.
you just make them interesting, and the fact that they happen to be women is kind of incidental
Mhm.
to the whole thing. So give them an interesting conflict, give them an interesting arc, give them flaws. I think the real pitfall of the strong female character is the sort of the woman who's good at everything and also gorgeous, but doesn't realize she's gorgeous, and and like she magically learns all these abilities instantaneously, and it's like you're overcorrecting, and you're overcorrecting to the nth degree, and so you need to make sure that they're flawed characters, like any character, male or female, whatever, or any other flaw. Give them interesting flaws and things that they want and things that they're bad at and weaknesses they have to try and overcome. So.
Right, which might be why yours works. Yeah, Florida Kevin says, maybe just intimidated by your wife. Is that what? Well, yeah, he's happily married, so of course, Florida Kevin
Yeah.
knows this too.
Yes.
So does Zapo. How about Joe, Sarah? I know you're not married yet, but
We're working on it.
there you go. Okay, cool. You get there. Getting there. I love it. I love it. Florida Kevin goes, that's why I do it. Exactly. See, it's when you're married to a strong woman, you know that, it's a little more nuanced than people tell us, right?
I'm definitely married to a strong woman. So.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Um, so we have the monsters in this, but you also have a lot of like scary technology going on in this book, and then some kind of mysterious stranger that we can't really talk about yet. What am I talking about? I don't know. You should probably buy the book. And so Zafo is going to put a link in so that you can grab your copy. And through that one too, if you happen to miss book one, you can go right through there. You'll have to see the whole series. So you can always grab book one if you want to start and get that done. But there's a lot of like computers and like AI things going on too. So you have the whole Jurgen guy, right? So you've got a whole thing with
Yes.
this kind of completely mechanical but was human kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
What do you find so frightening about that?
It's interesting. I don't think I know exactly what I think about that, because in the other series I explore kind of the other side of that, right, where it's viewed as at least by her, as a positive.
Mhm.
I feel like it's something that's coming, both genetic engineering and cybernetic augmentation. I mean, we obviously are already seeing the first examples of that, I think.
Mhm.
So it's more just the like wrestling with the ideas of what that means. What does it mean to, at what point are you can you still call yourself a human if you're 90% cybernetics? I don't know. Is that what it's all just me sort of wrestling with the concepts and trying to turn them into interesting book conflict, I guess.
Storylines.
I don't have I don't know if I have a viewpoint firmly set in that stuff. So I guess if I had an overarching theme, it's that humans will take a technology, and even if it could be used for good things, and is in some cases used for good things, they will find a way to use it for bad things, because that's just what we do.
That's the thing, right? Balancing progress with our fear and who gets to control it, right? Did you see that
Yeah.
they grew the chicken muscle in a lab?
No, I did not
They
see
just
that.
grew some chicken muscle in a lab, right? They're calling it a chicken nugget, right? But of course, it's just white, blobby, gross thing, right? Because it
Yeah.
didn't move, right? The cells were
Right.
just replicated.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, that's not appetizing. Like, you're not going to eat that. This is the first step. But
Yeah.
we're either going to grow our own organs, or they're going to be replaced with something mechanic. Like, there's
Yeah.
no one of these is going to happen. They might both
Yeah.
happen in some kind of combined way, which is kind of what you've done with the people on this planet,
Yeah.
right? You've kind of combined this kind of thing just so they can survive this harsh kind of reality.
Yeah, and that was the key, is you need to make sure that there's a reason, because a lot of people are going to human beings, I think, will naturally tend to balk at something like, or a lot of people will, and obviously not everybody.
Mhm.
But in this case, I made it so that the planet is so inhospitable that they basically have to do this. They don't have a
Mhm.
choice but to render large parts of themselves mechanical, because it makes them capable of surviving in this world. So it's, you have to provide the setting lever to force the people to move in a certain direction.
Mhm.
Um, Otherwise, you need to come up with an explanation of why they would choose to do this on a large scale. And I mean, there's other reasons they could do it. There's
Mhm.
no reason you couldn't come up with other motivating factors. But this one was a fun one for me to play with.
For sure. So, Sarah, if you had to choose, do you want your organs grown and replaced, or do you just want it replaced with mechanical parts?
See that I think that I it, I think that I'm gonna have to say organic ones, because I can't get my laptop to work 30% of the time. And so, like, if I don't know, even if it's
I
just my
mean,
knee, like I
legit.
replace my knee, and 30% of the time I gotta stand up, and it's like, oh, update required. I'm like, no, I can't. We have to go do the dishes. Although
You
then I
don't
would
have
have an
time to wait for an
excuse
update.
30% of the time not to do the dishes.
Johnny Crust says, gonna have to watch a 30-second ad every 4 hours so your kidney works, unless you keep paying for your organ subscription with bundles for multiple organs. Yeah, that's pretty much right on point there.
Oh,
That's
that totally
that
sounds
was
like a
just
short story,
the
Johnny. You should write that.
it was just happened in the newest episode, or the newest season of Black Mirror. That was the
I was,
exact plot
I
of
knew
the
you were
Black
gonna
Mirror
say that.
episode.
As soon as you said the newest season of it, I'm like, she's gonna say Black Mirror, because I haven't seen it yet.
I
But
was going to say, is there a new season? I haven't seen it either.
yeah, there
Yeah.
is a new season. Yeah.
Actually, that's a really good comparison, too. Anyone who likes Black Mirror will love Greg's books. They're very much like that. They're very much exploring what it means to be human in extreme circumstances.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really, that's a very fair comparison to make here.
Yeah, and I just I don't trust people to make the right decisions with technology. So I think some people, yeah, like I said, there will be technology created. It will be used for great acts of good, and then but someone somewhere will find a way to pervert it into something bad.
That's why we have laws, right? Most people would be fine. And then that
Right.
one person does that stupid thing twice, and we're like, that's it. We need a law now. And that's how
Yeah.
they all get made. One after another. Yeah, see, Zayf and I were talking the other day how much better the world would be just if we like got rid of all I don't know if you want to call them psychopaths or sociopaths, right? But psychology can't decide either. But the people that their brain is not even made to fit society rules, right? It's not that
Right.
they don't have any emotions. We were taught they don't have emotions. That's not true. But they don't feel guilt, right? They don't feel,
Yeah.
there's certain things they don't feel. And that tiny percentage of people causes a whole lot of pain.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering, with all of these like manipulations and that kind of thing going on, have you ever thought of like tackling that kind of human quality?
Well, there is a little bit in this book.
Mhm.
It's a short part. Um, yeah, Sarah's nodding, but the character Martin is a little just again, he's like in one chapter, but and I didn't really want to make a whole thing about it, so I just introduce him and then kind of he exits the story quietly. But so I do get into it a little bit, but yeah, it's definitely I've never had the I feel like that's a subject I need to know more about before I tackle because I want to tackle it intelligently.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen where other authors do a really good job of tackling it, and so it's a little bit. But at some point, yeah, it's a fascinating topic. This whole sort of separate kind of way a brain can work, and all the impacts that has, and how that intersects with technology would be a very interesting. So, like the in the series The Expanse, they actually have one of their short stories. They explain why how they were able to get all these scientists to do all this cutting edge but extraordinarily unethical um, research work. And so they hire them on, and then they bring them in for like a medical exam, and then they stick them in this machine, and this machine uses transcranial magnets to like basically turn them into psychopaths. So
Ooh.
it destroys the parts of their brain that psychopaths lack. And then at that point they're perfect. They're still fully capable of doing all the stuff they would have done, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't have any empathy or remorse or anything about anything they're about to do. So,
I mean,
so
powerful if you want to build a soldier, awful if you're trying to, fix society.
right. But
Mm-mm-mm.
yeah.
Yeah, that scares me because that sounds like that would actually work.
Yeah.
But you
I
also
mean it's
couldn't control them, so I don't know why anyone would want to do that, you know?
right. Yeah. Yeah. What if we ever created something we couldn't control? Uh,
It's true. It's true. Yeah. No, don't give me the keys. You can't trust me to choose what I should have for dinner. You definitely can't. Don't make me. Mm-mm. No. The well, your books are not straightforward. That's their power. The So you're not writing, just a simple space opera. You're not just writing, just a epic fantasy. Yours are definitely more complicated and intricate. So I'm wondering, what did you read or consume in order to inspire you in this
for this
way?
series or just in general. Um,
Either way you feel comfortable answering.
I mean, um, I've just always been drawn to um, story. Any like I always say the phrase that will draw me into a story faster than any other is nothing is as it seems.
Mm,
I've always enjoyed those kinds of stories where there's some big some it doesn't have to be dark, but it could be some big upending of everyone's understanding of how the world of the story works. Those are my um, favorite kinds of stories. And there's authors who did it really well. I mean, Robert Jordan. I read Wheel of Time in my formative years, and he was very good at constantly revealing that the world did not operate the way the characters thought it did, and there were these fascinating complications to everything. Um, and I'm trying to think of other. Daniel Abraham is another one. He's really good at
mm,
setting up a very believable world and then iterating it in very fascinating ways to show how totally believably you can either sort of take some aspect of the world to some extreme or it's actually not at all what it appears to be, and there's something else entirely underlying it. So um, it's just yeah, that concept that promise of grand revelation, I guess, has always been one of my favorite things in stories. So I try to write stories that have that in them.
I love it. I love it. Now, these stories, there's a little ambiguity, but that's because we haven't come to the conclusion yet, right? But each
Right.
book ends quite satisfying, I must say.
You wouldn't let me do it otherwise.
No, I was just going to say, I am very uncomfortable with I need an ending, right? So that's
Yeah.
part of like, publishing with me. I need an ending. But I have a feeling you're not as uncomfortable with it. Is that true?
I am fine. I'm okay with ambiguity. So if you present me a story that ends ambiguously, and I
Mm-hmm.
can think of like 3 or 4 different ways that it could be interpreted, and all of them are interesting,
Mm-hmm.
then that to me is a great ending. I like that. I like endings like that. It doesn't have to be like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
perfectly happy with a nice, neat, tied off ending. I always want there to be a little bit of unanswered stuff because you want the sense that the world doesn't just stop now that you've reached the end of the story. You want the sense that the world keeps going. Yeah. So my first series, Unwilling Souls, is the only one I finished so far, and that one ends in that way. It's definitely got a definitive ending. The story of the books ends, but there's definitely a sense that things go on afterward, and that there's unresolved, potential for conflict in the future. Because that feels like that's what a living world feels like. You reach the end. You reach the end when the sun burns out and the world is a lifeless rock. That's
Yep.
Before then it keeps going. And so, yeah, I think ambiguity, if it's handled well, is perfectly fine, and I actually really enjoy it when it's done well. Which you don't want is to just, you know, sort of stop and piss people off. There
No.
needs, there, you need
Chop
to
it off.
pick your
Say that.
battles on what you leave ambiguous and resolve things you've explicitly or implicitly promised to resolve, and then other things you can maybe leave ambiguous to some extent, I would say.
Yeah.
But that's
I
just
mean,
my
it's
opinion.
not like we have all the answers, right? Like you have
Right.
this big universe going on. And also Florida Kevin also brought up Unwilling Souls as an example. But so
Yeah.
it's not like we need answers to all the darn things. Like if you've read The Dying World, I have questions. We don't have all the answers, right? That's
Yeah.
okay. That,
Yeah.
like you said, that I don't need, but the characters and their main plight, and that I need those answers.
Yeah.
And you do that very satisfyingly. Even though sometimes I'm like, can you make this more explicit?
No, that's good. That's good because I have a tendency to assume stuff is obvious because it's obvious to me, and it's not necessarily obvious to a reader coming in fresh. So I really value it when I get to those notes. I'm like, okay, I need to make this more explicit because it's clear in my head, but that doesn't mean that. But I also made it up, so it
Well,
would
it's
be.
also because you're really smart. And by the way, I want my writers to be smarter than I am when I'm reading it, but I still need to be very clear that I understood what you were saying. And you
Yeah.
you always come around. You always come around. How about you, Sarah? How do you feel about ambiguity?
I I am much the same as Greg, I believe. Like it's all right if this, and I like stories that resolve not happily. Like um that's one of the reasons why I really liked the end of um Moons and Mages. Plugging Moons and Mages launched April 1st. But we um didn't end that with a happy ending. It concluded the arc of the book, but there was still more to go. I
Mm,
get frustrated reading or watching stuff and they're just like, and the episode ends here. Come back next week.
yeah. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but next week's a year away, right? Like, I don't want to wait that
Yes.
long. Yeah.
Yeah, streaming has gotten bad about that, where they just assume you're binge watching, and so they don't bother writing self-contained episodes anymore. It's just
Mhm.
like, then that's not every show, but a lot of shows I feel
But
like
often, yeah.
have gotten a little lazy about the art of a episodic story, where the story can be a long arc, but each individual segment of story also needs to be its own satisfactory sub story.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. Sometimes it feels like they're making 8-hour movies instead
yeah,
of
Yeah.
8
and just
episodes.
and just
Yeah.
randomly chopping them, kind of, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Or
I
or
agree.
the worst is when nothing happens for 58 of the 60 minutes, and then in the last 2 minutes there's a
Yeah.
sudden development to get you to tune into the next episode. Those are the ones that drive me insane.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like,
like, no.
I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. Ooh, intrigue. Next
Right.
episode.
Exactly. You're like, son of a gun.
Yep.
Though Joe Abercrombie did that to me, so
Mm.
it happens. Yeah, Florida Kevin says he loves ambiguity. He likes ending the book himself, and you would, Florida. Um, Lahia says some ambiguity is nice. That you like main plot points resolved. Yeah, we're pretty united in that. I think that works. I want answers. Life is full of ambiguity. I don't need that in my fiction. Um, that's my personal opinion. I think enough. I just want to explore. So here at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing, we believe if people like you, they will like what you write. So I'm wondering, what are you currently reading?
Um, Currently I'm reading two books. I'll do one fiction, one nonfiction.
Okay.
The nonfiction is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green.
Oh, I want to read that. So you got to tell me what you think.
I've just started. It's really fascinating so far. I mean, I guess it's the disease that's killed more people than any other, and even today kills hundreds of millions of people. Even it's killed over 100 million people since we developed a cure for it. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, we can cure this disease, and it's still killing
Well, as long as you
tens of
catch
millions.
it early enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so it's been a very interesting read so far, and I'm looking at my phone because I'm frantically.
You're like, what is the name of that book? No, I get that.
What is
Yeah.
what is the name of the other book? The one that I am reading. Hold on, I'm gonna get there. Any sec. He writes a lot of books. Shroud. That's it. Shroud by Adrian Tchaikovsky. He's one of my favorite
Ooh.
authors. He does really great, thoughtful, thought-provoking sci-fi. He loves spiders too. Um,
I was gonna say he's a comp for you. So quite frankly, if someone likes Adrian Tchaikovsky, they probably like your work too.
yeah. Well, that's a very complimentary comp.
It's true
So,
though.
great.
It's true.
But Shroud is a book. It's an sort of an alien first contact book where this hyper capitalistic future society, where the only way you can even be unfrozen from cryo sleep is if they deem you could be of some value to the mega corporation. Um, this group of workers is orbiting this planet where they've discovered life, and they're trying the best how figure out how best to exploit this planet and its many resources for the benefit of the corporation. And they end up crash landing on it, and it's a totally novel approach to alien life. It's like it's a planet in total darkness. Everything is based on everything the aliens do is based on sound and EM fields and chemosynthesis. So they're eating, basically volcanic chemicals. That's their sort of energy source. And it's really, really cool. It does crazy alien life in a way that only Adrian Tchaikovsky can really do. And I'm very much enjoying it.
That is pretty cool. I just checked and made sure that was on my want to read. That sounds fascinating. I want to read that. And it is. So cool. Excellent. And what are you watching?
We just finished the third season of Wheel of Time, which I loved. I've liked each season better than the previous, and I'm a huge fan of the books. I'm not one of those book fans who hates on the show. There are a lot of them, and I get their opinions. They're very different than the books in many ways.
They're supposed to be different,
Yeah,
though.
I know. And but anyway, I was thrilled because, and this proves to me that the showrunners are big fans of the series, because they gave us a sequence from the books that every business case you could possibly argue would have said cut this from the show. It's expensive. It's really weird. It's something that we could get the end result of it in a million other ways that would not involve introducing this whole side tangent that the books contained. But it's a great fun sequence. But you ask people who've read the books about this, and everyone always loves this scene. But it's, again, and there's any number of ways they could have dumbed it down or made it way more mainstream palatable.
Cost
But
effective.
they went for the full weirdness, and I loved it. I was
Oh,
so
that's
happy. I was
awesome.
like, I can't believe they're giving us. Even now, I think I've watched the clip like 10 times on YouTube, and I'm like, I cannot believe they got to film this and and put it in the show. So even if they never make another season, and they might not because they haven't been renewed yet, um, I will always be grateful for getting this at least.
You liking weird stuff? I don't believe it.
Yeah, no, it was great. I was like, this is so weird. It's so good.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Makes me happy. And then finally, what are you playing? I know you like your video games.
Let's see. I am playing a game called Blueprints, and it is. Oh, are you also playing it?
Oh, we just found the 46th room yesterday.
Oh,
That's a
see, I am
yes.
not as far as you. I have not found it yet.
So
But
you
yes,
need a hint.
it is a game about a ever-changing mansion that your character has inherited, and his goal is to find the 46th room of a 45-room mansion. And as you go through and solve all these sort of environmental puzzles to make your way through the mansion, you're getting all these snippets of backstory as to like the history of the area and the people involved, and there's all mysterious happenings, and maybe someone's watching you. It's not clear, and so like it's fun and kind of creepy and puzzle solving, and so it's right up my alley.
Yeah. Jen says that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. And apparently Sarah's ahead. They found the 46th room. So it
We
is
found the
there. At
46th
least
room.
you have verification. It exists.
Yes.
That's right.
And we saw the credits yesterday, and the first thing I get up when I get off this stream is we're probably gonna go do another 2 runs tonight.
Yes. Yes,
You
it's
can
one of
do it
those games
faster.
it's one of those games where I understand you get to the credits and then there's like 100 hours of game after that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. I love
That's
those.
that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's more puzzles. That's clever. That sounds
Yeah.
fun. What was the name again? The 46th room?
Blueprint. It's Blueprints, but it's like a son of a king blueprint, but it's meant to
Oh.
be a play on blueprints like house plans. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of punning in the game. A lot of
Yeah.
saying two words sounding the same but meaning different things.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I must say that everything you're consuming totally makes sense to me. That's that's not
I
always the case. You're not watching like Tournament of Champions food TV. That's what we're doing. Come on now.
We have if we don't have anything else going on at night, we're too tired to do much. We will, and this shouldn't shock anybody either, but we will turn on Roku, and they've got an endless stream of unsolved mysteries episodes that plays. And we'll just fire up old Robert Stack and listen to him. His mellifluous tones lead us through some weird scenario or other.
See,
'Cause
you're fine with ambiguity. I can't stand it. I want solved mysteries.
I'm okay with unsolved mysteries as long as there's a lot of as long as there's a lot of plausible like options it could potentially be. And like, ooh, is it this? Like, I love it where it's like there's like none of these things add up. That's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, awesome. Congratulations. We are so, so proud to present this book out to the world. It's going to look so pretty on the table. And I know some fans are dying to get that 4th book. And so, Zafo, if you'll put the link in the chat again, thank you, thank you. And again, if you've missed book 1, it is The Last Humans. The cover just flashed by. And so make sure to grab that one. You do want to catch up before next April when we get the final book, book 5 in this series. Very exciting. And we don't know who's going to be in the cover. Maybe we should put an ensemble on the cover, Greg.
Well, that's yeah, we can do that.
We might have
Could
to
hold
do
a
that.
poll in your newsletter.
Ooh, yeah, there we go. Could do that. Yeah.
No. Okay. So
It'll be Bodie McBoatface if we do that.
That's exactly. You cannot trust the internet. Trust me. So that's awesome. So Sarah, you do not just work for us, you also freelance. So if people
I
are
do.
looking for an editor, where can they find you?
ladybirdediting.com, or you can send me an email, ladybirdediting@gmail.com, if you'd like to see me do my thing live on stream, just like this. Join us at twitch.tv/birdie25, where Tuesdays, generally about this time slot, I am working on a book live on stream. You get all of the same tips, and you don't have to pay for it.
And you can give her a short story if she's out of content, and she'll do it for
Oh, yeah.
free. But
Yeah.
like online. But she also is she does the work online, so expect we don't pull punches around here. Poor Greg, he knows this. So Greg, now that people are anxious and want to join those newsletters, they have a say on the cover for book 5. Where can they find you and your work?
I'm at gregorydlittle.com, and I'm on Facebook and Blue Sky and Instagram. So, and last check, someone was saying the link on my website to my newsletter doesn't work, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But if you want to join my newsletter and the link is not working, you can email me at gregory@gregorydlittle.com, and I will add you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Any final words?
Thank you for letting me continue, just much like Wheel of Time. Thank you for letting me put out this weird stuff out there, despite how strange and frequently off-putting it probably is.
I actually find it quite satisfying. So.
Oh, good.
I don't know what that says about me. All right. Nicely done, everyone. Thank you very much, and we will see you in a couple weeks. I'll get the exact date when I get it, because we have a cover reveal for the next Misplaced Adventures novel. Ooh. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Nicely done. That's fun. I want to play that game now. I have Echoes of Plum Grove, because that is so peaceful. Where, just a farming game, but I haven't played it in a month. So when I go to play it again, I'm going to have to look up the instructions. Do you ever have that where you're just too busy and then you go back to the game and you're like, I don't know how to play this anymore?
Yeah, I actually, so I have the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game. And it's been sitting on my console ever since December. I played some of it and I love it. And it's I like it so much that I don't want to play it and have it be over. But what that's led to is that I just stopped playing it. And now when I go back, I'm going to have to relearn how to do everything.
Yes. Yes.
That is Kelly's modus operandi with all games.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, I'm almost done with the game. I'm just not going to play it anymore.
That's
I have done that a few times. Hey, I finished Witcher 3 twice, so.
There you
wow,
go.
that's impressive, because I finished it once, and that is a long game.
Well, I had to have him, have both love interests, right? So I had to see how it ended.
Well, of course.
Naturally.
That's we should do that with books, where we have two love interests and we do the same book, and you have to read the book twice to get both love interests.
You don't know which one you're going to get when you buy the book. We have two versions of the.
There you go.
So is one book printed with
strategy.
black text on white paper, and the other one is white text on black paper?
No, it has to be random. You have no idea you're getting it.
So there was a joke someone posted online years ago. I think it was on Reddit. It was talking about how you should write the same. You should write a book with 7 or with 6 different endings, publish it, and then tell all your fans that there's 7 endings, and watch them go berserk trying to find the 7th ending. We did that. We did that at a friend of my wife's. We went to his house for a party. Guy she knew from her work, and he's a huge. His college football team is a big rival of ours. So she snuck over some magnets from our school, Virginia Tech, and planted them at various places around his house. And as we left, I said, "How many did you bring?" And she said 4. It's when he starts finding them, tell him you left 5, and watch him go insane, tearing his house apart, looking for the 5th one that doesn't exist.
Well, our kids are older now, right? For Easter, I was like, well, I still want like deviled eggs, right? So we bought some eggs to boil. I'm like, should I boil one and just put it under a bush if I about it for like 3 months, So it's just
Same
like,
effect.
when they were little.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So we had the authentic Easter experience.
There you go.
We didn't. We didn't do that. But yeah, no, that's funny. Just leaving extra things. Well, we do have some of our authors are working on, well, one of the author is working on a choose your own kind of adventure thing. So that'll be fun.
That's Kevin, right? Isn't he doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So
fun.
we will see what happens with that one. So whenever that comes out, however he chooses that one to be presented, we'll make sure y'all know about it.
Oh yeah,
So that will be very fun.
that sounds
Uh,
fun. It's a fun concept.
Yeah, I'm so excited because it's also featuring like some of the children from his books. Like I
Mhm.
love Keen and Sarah's kids. I freaking love them. I was like, I want books by them. And so that's they're some of the best parts. Book 4 and 5.
Mhm.
Yeah, book 4 and 5. So I should probably read that series again. But yeah, awesome. All right, I guess we're good. You have any last words, Zafo?
No. Oh, yes. Jen, I read your last message in there, just like in Dr. Horrible.
What did Jen say?
She said,
We love weird
we
stuff.
love weird
Yes.
stuff, so yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's not how it goes, though. It goes, we do the weird stuff.
right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that's what popped
We
in
just
my
watched
head.
Dr. Horrible the other day.
Mm.
Yeah. And our kids are adults now, but there was only one line in that we couldn't let them hear
For several years.
Mhm.
when it first came out. I'm sorry?
For several years, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because we just looked at it, and our son was 7 when it came out, and our daughter was
Mhm.
5. So our son was 7, and we always used, real words for all organs. And at 7, he really likes certain words more than others.
Oh dear.
And yeah. And so there's a whole thing because it's Captain Hammer, and he says,
Yes.
the hammer is my penis. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. I'm like, he can never hear that because he doesn't
Right.
really know what he's talking about, but he'll say it over and
Yeah.
over again.
Mhm.
So when we'd watch the whole thing, but we'd fast forward through that part or mute it, or he says we would close his ears. I don't remember that. It must have been when he was older. But we would, we were like, he can't hear this yet.
Earmuffs.
But
he'd take that to school.
he would. He so would. So I was like, yeah, we just.
Hilariously, when we finally let him hear it, he was like, wait, that's it?
Exactly. I was like, that means.
That's how you know you left it long enough.
Right.
Exactly. He's
He's
old
no
enough
longer
now.
impressed by it. He's
Somebody
disappointed.
told me with their kid, because their kids are like 5 years behind ours, and so asked about I don't know when like I should close the door on my son, because we have open door policy, which we did too, right? And I said, your son will tell you. Like it went from him opening up the door to knocking on it.
Right.
I'm like, he'll do it. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah.
They self-censor.
Yeah.
Jenna
A
does
harsh
not.
lesson, but-
Our daughter never learned that lesson, but it's okay.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yep, she never. Well, she does with you.
Sure.
So, yeah. Yep. But
Fun stuff.
yeah, that was funny. There are things kids just teach themselves
True.
because we belong in society, and things leak over.
Those are the best lessons. Is the ones that you teach yourself.
Yes.
Or the internet teaches you.
Oh no,
Well,
those are the worst
oh, no.
lessons.
Yeah.
No.
There's all kinds of bad ways that can go.
Yeah.
We need fewer people learning lessons on the internet. Is what I would decide.
And I know it's fun to get on the internet and find weirdos like us, and so it's nice to find people that are like you on the internet. But I think some people really shouldn't find their group. Like more violent people, they really shouldn't find their group.
So back in I'll date myself here. Back in the late '90s, my high school physics teacher. So this is very early days of the internet. She told us one day, I can't really remember the context of how this came up, but she said the internet is the first time in human history that all the crazy people can find each other.
Yep.
And boy, she was very prophetic.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep. We find all this lonely people can find people, but so do all the crazies.
Yeah.
Like you said, every technology comes with good and bad, right? So
Hmm.
that's just how it works since the beginning of time, since we first
Yep.
invented the wheel. We could haul cargo, but also your mother-in-laws could come visit easier. So, I mean, there were always goods
And
and bads with
one of
every
one of my
invention.
good friends who reads all my stuff, yeah, he's still a big fan of the Harmony Parasite. He thinks we should do that in real life, and I'm like, I feel like I feel like I sort of illustrated some of the ways this could go horribly wrong.
I think
I'm
you
like,
missed the
big
point of
fan,
that
did he
book.
read it? Yeah.
Yes, it's a real torment nexus thing, you know. It's like
That's why I gave Kelly a look. She was like, "Yeah, Zayf and I were talking, and we think that we should get rid of the psychopaths. How would you get rid of the psychopaths?" And I'm like, Kelly, I think you missed the point of the book.
Harmony Parasite.
there we
Yeah.
go.
Well,
We're good
that's
to go.
why we talk about it, but we don't make it policy. That's the
Yeah.
difference, right? That is what the real difference. We were in the car, and there was somebody doing something in their car next to them, right? And the person I was with who was driving was like, said something very rude about them, right? But it didn't matter. You know why it didn't matter? Because we didn't say it to them. We didn't write it online. We didn't make sure they knew we felt that way. You mean it's like
Yeah.
that's the problem, right? The problem is we now say exactly what we feel, streaming like I am right now, right? And we just like make that kind of comment specific to someone. And even worse, you can be anonymous and not even stream and no one knows it's you, right?
Yeah, I mean, before the internet, most things that people said or did were sort of lost to oblivion. Now everything is preserved forever, and
And
I think
ever.
we've seen
And
ample
ever.
examples of how that's a bad thing,
Oh,
and
yeah.
how we need to be how we need to return to being a more forgetful species.
Yes. There are some Ted Lasso, be the goldfish, right? Sometimes we need to be the goldfish more. I
Yeah.
agree with that 100%.
And
Maybe we need to be revenants and just let things just slide off our slimy bodies. Maybe we need to do that.
That's right. We'll all be revenants.
That's
It'll be
right.
great. At last, my plan is almost complete.
I don't think I like that tone, Greg.
First, get them to sympathize with these creatures, and then
Become them.
I mean, quite frankly, by book 4, there's a little bit of that going on, isn't there? So,
yeah, I mean, the only one who hasn't undergone a radical transformation at this point is Carl, I think. So
I mean, can we say that though?
he's had a transformation of his awareness of himself, I guess. But yeah,
that's the good kind of
He didn't.
transformation.
He didn't transform into a
Something
different
new.
transformation. He's just
Yeah.
is the transformation.
he just
Yes.
found out his true self.
That's right. Yeah.
And it didn't change him.
I've got
That's
one
not
book
true
to
of
go.
everyone.
No, it's true.
Uh-huh.
Carl is our sort of steady hand character. He's the hardest one to change for both good and bad.
Well, that's in our fantasy. We don't really have one in our books. The first category is a paladin or a knight. We don't technically, as a main character, right? We don't technically have any of those. But if there was going to be a paladin, it would be Carl.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely his role, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But awesome. All right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out, and we will see you soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye bye.